So you should get a notification about that. So just wanted to welcome everybody to the GoTech fall webinar. Really thrilled about this one. So before we get going with the webinar, Dr. Joan Shin, do you want to share a little bit about GoTech?
Sure. So hi everyone and welcome to our GoTech webinar. As most of you here know, my name is Joan Kang Shin and I'm a professor of education and the Associate Dean for Faculty Success in the College of Education and Human Development at George Mason University. In addition, I'm also the director of the Global Online Teacher Education Center, or GoTech, at George Mason, and this is the host and the sponsor for this webinar today. I work very closely with GoTech Associate Directors Jared Borup and Anya Evmenova, and our faculty affiliates to further the mission of GoTech, which is to advance research and pedagogy in online teacher education and professional development around the world that is inclusive, accessible, and culturally and linguistically responsive and sustaining. GoTech's work further strengthens the College of Education and Human Development as a global leader in teacher preparation by exploring innovations in teaching and learning to advance the field of teacher education in online environments. So if you would like to know more about GoTech and our research and our many projects around the world, please check out our website. I will quickly put the link in the chat box. But since we're about to start this webinar, please check out the link in about an hour so that you can put your full attention to our exciting webinar. And Jared, would you like to introduce the webinar now?
Yeah, I'd be thrilled to. As I do, could everyone just kind of put in the chat maybe a short introduction, who you are, where you're at? This has been fun because I will say a couple of days ago, I was reviewing the list of people that were RSVPing, and I saw my wife there, and I said, "Oh, Pam, thank you for registering." She said, "Oh, is that your webinar?" So she had no clue. But like people are really drawn to this topic, really interested in learning more. And I remember speaking with Joan Hardy years ago when she first started. We were working on other projects, but when she was starting this, and I've been hearing little bits about it here and there. And then we met, I guess, a month or two ago. The fall always goes by so quickly, and she was asking about AI and how AI might help with her the Global Classroom Project, and that's when I roped her into giving this webinar, and she roped in others to join her with this webinar. It's really a great team. So I won't take any more time and turn it over to them to get going. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Jared. And I did see your wife enter, and I thought,
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing. I see that there are a lot of people that I have worked with before at GMU in the chat that are here today. So it's great to see everybody again. And for those who are new, I am Joanne Hardy, and I work for Fairfax County Public Schools in the Instructional Services Department. My role is that of a project liaison on our Learning Innovations team. And as Jared mentioned, I have been working on the Global Classroom Project since the beginning, back in 2017. And I look forward to sharing more about that with you. And I have some colleagues here today that, yes, I roped into helping me, and I'm so glad they're here today. So I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Andrea Martin. I work with Joanne. I support a lot of the technology that we use in the Global Classroom Project. I've been with her supporting this since almost just about the beginning. I'm officially stationed on the Educational Technology team within Instructional Services.
My name is Pam Gallietta. I'm a School Technology Innovation Partner with the Office of the Department of Information Technology in Fairfax County. Joanne and Andrea are my colleagues in my former career as an ed tech coach in Fairfax County. And so I've been lucky enough to be kind of adjacent to the Global Classroom Project in my role supporting a school. And then now in this role with a central IT team, we've gotten to connect again. So it's awesome to be here today. Our colleague Summer Johnson is out today, but I'll turn it over to Mel. She's also on this team. So that'll be over to you, Mel.
Thanks, Pam. My name is Mel Malik. I am the third on this team of School Technology Innovation Partners, and we work with FCPS's DIT department. We like to say we have one foot in instruction or one foot in schools and the other in technology and in transformation. And we really help alongside of our school-based technology specialists to bridge the gap between innovative technology and our school goals in any way any way we can. So that this year, that means a lot of development around AI tools. So we have a fun tool to share with you today that will hopefully make this work a little bit easier.
Thanks, everybody. So as we get started, I know you just added one thing to the chat, but we'd also like to know what sparked your interest in attending today's session on global classrooms. So if you could just do us a favor and add one more thing, we'd just love to hear why you're here today. And as you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and talk about our outcomes for today. There are really two main outcomes for this presentation. The first is really just to learn all about the Global Classroom Project in Fairfax County Public Schools. And then the second is to explore and gain an understanding of how tools like AI can be used to reflect on and enhance program impact. So first, a little bit about Fairfax County Public Schools. So many of you are at George Mason. Many of you probably live in Fairfax County. But just a few statistics to share. We have moved up in the world. We are now the 9th largest school division in the U.S. Previously, in the past few years, we had been the 10th largest school division. We have approximately 199 schools and centers serving approximately 183,000 students. So when we think about partners that we connect with, you know, they're wondering, you know, are we just connecting with one school? Are we connecting with multiple? We have the opportunity to connect 183,000 students with global partners. Based on the data from the 23-24 school year, over 35% of our population is economically disadvantaged. 16.3% receive special education services. 21% are multilingual learners, and more than 7% are military connected. In 2024, data shows our on-time graduation rate was 94.6%. We have over 40,000 employees in FCPS, which makes us one of the largest employers in Virginia. And a fun fact, I'm not sure if you know this one, that FCPS has 1,600 buses that transport nearly 130,000 students daily. So to add some context to this, Greyhound runs a fleet of just over 1,200 buses. So we have more buses than Greyhound. So just some statistics about FCPS. So I bet Dr. Shin didn't know she was going to make a cameo in this presentation today. But the Global Classroom Project, or GCP as we like to call it, has roots dating back to 2017 and is familiar to some of our GMU colleagues, as Jared mentioned. The concept began as the Global STEAM Classroom Initiative, or GSCI, when Dr. Andrew Gilbert from GMU supported fifth grade students at Centerville Elementary in a STEAM partnership with peers from Costa Rica. The students worked on a collaborative PBL assignment focused on an environmental challenge. This single school GSCI quickly grew into the division-wide project we know today. In the 2018-2019 academic year, the project expanded its scope into research. Dr. Joan Shin led a study on cultural proficiency focusing on how participation affected teachers, intercultural sensitivity, and how they cultivated caring and inclusive learning environments. So this foundational work paved the way for our current GCP model. Okay. So the Global Classroom Project has grown from a successful initial pilot to a comprehensive K through 12 program that has been implemented for 9 years. The GCP provides students with unique, challenging learning experiences designed to engage and empower them. Teachers collaborate with partners worldwide to design instruction, helping students to develop the knowledge and skills needed to take collective action on pressing global challenges. The project's really built around 3 key foundational elements, and those elements are represented by the graphic in the upper right-hand corner, and that is academic content, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or the SDGs, and the FCPS Portrait of a Graduate attributes. So the blueprint ensures the GCP is a real-world, authentic experience accessible to all of our K through 12 students. Through participation, students apply their POG skills, or Portrait of a Graduate skills, in practical ways as they collaborate with international partners. The Global Classroom Project is incredibly flexible. As we mentioned, it's a K through 12 program open to all teachers in all content areas, and it seamlessly enhances the existing FCPS learning model. We offer 7 distinct pathways for entry, allowing teachers to integrate the GCP based on their specific needs. These pathways include academic content. We just added career and technical education, cultural proficiency, environmental stewardship, which in FCPS is our Get to Green program, IBMYP, and also PYP, language acquisition and intercultural competence, and STEAM. So with all of those pathways, you can see there's an entry point for every teacher in our division. We integrate global collaboration by having teachers facilitate synchronous and asynchronous technology tools like Zoom and shared documents to connect students with international partners. This immediately puts cultural responsiveness into practice, building safe and positive learning communities. For instruction, we utilize inquiry and agency by embedding familiar practices like PBL and STEAM, empowering students by giving them choice and their designing of their own learning experiences. And then finally, we ensure comprehensive assessment through diverse strategies, including performance tasks and student-led practices. This structured approach provides continuous opportunities for students to reflect on their growth and their Portrait of a Graduate skills. The Global Classroom Project helps students actualize these Portrait of a Graduate skills through authentic, real-world global challenges. The GCP team in instructional services guides teachers and students to focus on 1 to 3 core POG skills throughout the project. Students are encouraged to use specific examples of growth from the experience in their reflections. Ultimately, the project gives students the flexibility and ownership to demonstrate growth in any POG skill they've practiced. And finally, the third piece of that graphic representing our 3 core components or foundational elements are the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. These 17 goals are the plan for a better, more sustainable future, addressing urgent problems like poverty, inequality, and climate change. As participants in the GCP, classes choose 1 or more SDGs and link them to their academic content and Portrait of a Graduate skills. This connection helps students understand their power to create positive change through global collaboration. And I must say, in 9 years, we have never had a teacher say, I can't find a connection with my content. So these are really powerful and serve as the anchor for our project. So I'm going to pass it on to Andrea now, who's going to share a little bit more about our framework and share some sample plans with us.
Thank you, Joanne. So Joanne mentioned earlier that we have structures, and we do, and the structures provide a way to facilitate these interactions that go beyond, meet and greet. That we do focus a lot on building relationships, on cultural responsiveness on both sides of the partnership, on exploring content connections and practical implications regarding the Sustainable Development Goals. And what you see on the screen is the framework that we use. We have a project plan, and teachers collaborate to complete the plan together. With the first step is about building relationships so that students and teachers can learn about each other. The second and third steps focus on exploration and inquiry, whether they're looking at the SDGs or how they might address some of those global challenges within their own ecosystems. That those are key parts of the framework. And then a critical part is step 4, which is where they engage in collective action. It could be locally, it could be nationally, it could be globally, in how are they going to address the Sustainable Development Goal challenges that they chose to focus on through their project. We feel that a structure like this is really critical for creating a balance for the project, and helping people focus on the outcomes that we've determined, like content connections, SDGs, and then for FCPS students, also the portrait of a graduate outcomes. We're going to show you next one of our sample projects. You can see this was a partnership. Great Falls Elementary is a Japanese immersion school. So about half the school takes part in Japanese immersion, and their language for math, science, and health is Japanese. And they partnered with Kobe Bilingual School in Japan. And they chose to focus on 3 sustainable development goals: sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, and life on land. And in collaboration with their school, developed their project. So they were researching in their native languages and then creating plans for sustainability to share with their partner schools, and then to get feedback from their partner school on their plans that would take place within their own schools. So this is one example of a school that was using multiple pathways. They were looking not just at content, but also at language acquisition and environmental stewardship. And as you can see through that, they were able to find 3 SDGs that connected very well with their project. We have another example for you, a secondary example. At Hughes Middle School, the teacher here has a sister, an actual sister, in France, and they've been connecting around environmental stewardship and, again, language acquisition. In this particular project plan, the content was pre-algebra, and the students are English language learners. And they were looking at SDG 12, which is responsible consumption and production. And also there's a lake not far from their school, Lake Thoreau, and they were looking at trash and litter that was found around the lake, and thinking about their project outcome was to present solutions for proper litter disposal within their communities. This focused not just on the SDG, but it also gave students the opportunity to practice their English skills with students in France who were also practicing their English skills. So they had a few joint outcomes there for their students. And participating in the GCP, hopefully this shows you that these are 2 examples of many that we have, that creating differentiated and culturally responsive learning environments is not just a benefit for our students, but it expands our reach, and it's a benefit for our international partners as well. So impact, where are we right now? There are 17 SDGs, as you have seen. We've had 81 different FCPS schools collaborate with international partners over the years, and we've partnered with 55 different countries. And the interactive map screenshot that you see on the screen, you can actually go to our website and manipulate the interactive map yourself, and we will have that link for you a little bit later. I think this is where I'm going to pause and let Pam show this video that will give you a little bit more of an in-depth look at the projects.
Tonight, educators and young people in our community are sharing their ideas for actions to impact global issues represented by the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. These include challenges such as zero hunger, quality education, sustainable cities and communities, and peace, justice, and strong institutions, to name a few. Through their participation in the GCP, students authentically demonstrate their skills within Portrait of a Graduate attributes of collaborator, communicator, critical and creative thinker, ethical and global citizen, and goal-directed and resilient individual. Teachers provide opportunities for students at any grade level through any content area. As a result of participating in the GCP, students develop global competence while deepening their content knowledge and understanding.
And if you had told me on August the 2nd, 2015, that there would be groups of kids in school working with their teachers to connect with communities in other schools and other teachers around the world, I would have said, that's what Next Steps look like. What you are doing is driving change for your generation, for my generation, and for all of our generations. If we were to start today, we would call the next level of needed effort uniting communities. And I deeply believe that's what the future of global cooperation looks like. Uniting communities. And that's what I think you've been doing here. Uniting within your communities, uniting across your communities, and connecting with other communities to take next steps. I want to congratulate all of you for doing what the world really needs, which is to take next steps. Because if we are going to have any chance of achieving the ambitions that we all know need to be met for the world, so that no one's left behind, so that we reach the furthest behind first, and so that our planet sustains itself for the future, it will be billions of next steps. Billions of next steps in communities around the world that get us to that change. So the final reason I'm so excited and so proud and honored to be with all of you is because each of you, especially the young students, you're not just thinking about change, you're not just creating the change, you're actually being the change. And I'm deeply convinced that by the time my generation starts to take notes, it'll be because your hundreds and thousands and millions of next steps are the ones that generated sustainable development for all. So thank you for letting me be here today. Thanks very much.
So, LJ, how would you describe this experience in one word? Eye-opening.
Awe-inspiring. New.
Open-minded.
Reassuring.
Inclusive.
Unique.
Extraordinary.
Inspirational.
Connected. Realization. Collaborative.
Yippee! Awesome.
That's GCP!
I've seen that video probably 15 times, and every time it generates the same reaction in me. Like it's such an inspiring time to hear students actually talking about their projects. It's just phenomenal. That was we have a showcase every year where students and teachers come and present, and we have community members who attend. And that was from that. It's really inspiring to hear them talk about how they are inspiring and sustaining change. And we really can't do that without technology. And so the three platforms that we use Google, Google Workspace for Education. We have our international partners and our FCPS students and teachers in a unique Google domain where they are able to collaborate within that space. We also use Zoom for synchronous collaboration. I have been privileged enough to a couple of times to visit classrooms when they're doing their live classroom to classroom collaboration. And it is I don't think I've ever seen students as engaged as they are when they are exchanging live dialogue with students across the world in another classroom. And then we also use Padlet, which is a great space for asynchronous collaboration. Students can upload things, they can enter text, and they can share images and videos and websites. And then their partners can use the same space in Padlet to do the same. And so we have connections that are within very different time zones. And so Padlet is a great option for those students. So we have synchronous and asynchronous spaces where students can collaborate and teachers to work together. And we are hoping, as part of, you'll see in today's presentation, to even expand our technology options to include artificial intelligence to see how we can use that to further the goals of the project. Some of the benefits that we've seen from participation, well, this is a no-cost option for students to explore the world. We believe very, very strongly in the international opportunities that this provides to our students to explore, and they don't ever have to leave Fairfax County to do that. Their global understanding, their development of what we're calling future-ready skills, which we can't really define future-ready skills because they're in the future, they're always changing. And so we want students through this project to develop the skills to be innovative and to be collaborative and to be outside of the box thinkers so that they can address future challenges. We want them to deepen their content knowledge and their global competencies so that they are prepared to lead in the global spaces that we know are coming. They're developing empathy, and they're developing an ability to communicate with people outside of just their own community. The Fairfax County Public Schools Strategic Plan, which is our roadmap, if you will, for goals and priorities of the school system, there are 5 goals. And 4 of the goals, we've found very strong connections between the strategic plan and the Global Classroom Project. Goal 2 really emphasizes belonging and engagement. We want students to feel a sense that they are part of something bigger than themselves, that they have a sense of purpose. And that is an identity point of the Global Classroom Project. Goal 3, academic growth and growth along portrait of a graduate attributes. You've seen through this presentation how students are expanding their collaboration skills, their communication skills, their global and ethical citizenship skills, and that we can do this through the Global Classroom Project. Goal 4 really focuses on equitable access, and there is no limit to the content that can be explored through the Global Classroom Project. Any content area, any grade level can participate in this particular project. And global citizenship, which is part of Goal 5, is preparing students for the future. This is how we achieve that, is when we give students opportunities to talk outside of their own community with students in other communities all over the world. So the alignment between the GCP and our overall FCPS strategic plan, it's very clear. We strongly believe that we are on the right path. And our students would agree. We have data from our elementary students indicating a very high level of excitement, a feeling of belonging as part of a team, that they've deepened their content knowledge, and they've actually shared quotes with us about the impact of shared global concerns. So one of those quotes, a student said, "We should stop polluting the air and water." Yes, that's an excellent goal. We had another student share, "We can recycle." And by internalizing these and recognizing that they can make a change from a very young age, We've seen data that really, from our students themselves, that indicates that what we're doing is making a difference. Our secondary students we ask them some deeper level questions. Their indication that they were developing really strong leadership skills, that they had a high level of engagement in their classes in which they were participating through the Global Classroom Project. They noted marked improvements in their abilities to communicate, especially with those from other cultures, and expanded their own global perspectives and thinking. And they acknowledged the importance in recognizing that other communities, very different from theirs, but we're still tackling the same sustainable development goals, and that was extremely impactful for them. And it enhanced their practical understanding of how different communities are addressing these particular goals. So we've been very interested to hear this data from our students and to see how artificial intelligence might help us expand our collection of data and really evaluate the impact that we're having. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Pam, who is going to demonstrate one idea that we have for leveraging artificial intelligence to help us with our outcomes. Pam?
Thanks, Andrea. I think great that we ended with the data piece, because that's a great segue into how our teams got connected. As I mentioned, I do have history with Joanne and Andrea around the Global Classroom Project. And certainly, as you've seen, it's such an incredible project, and it's so great to just connect with folks around this again. So what we'll do is we'll give a little bit of history as to how we reconnected. We're going to be focusing today on Gemini Gems, and so you're going to learn about Gemini Gems. And we are actually going to walk through, we're calling it a live build, but we're going to give you all like the structure of a Gemini Gem and how we've set it up to support the Global Classroom Project. And then we hope to end with some time engaging with the Gemini Gem so that you can see a real-time application of prompting this gem to reflect on the program impact and the Global Classroom. So just a little bit about how our teams got connected last year. Our team over here, the School Technology Innovation Partner Team, we support a project called FCPS Lighthouse Schools. And what this project does is it works with schools and teams around innovation cycles. And of course, being over in IT, we try to connect those innovation cycles to any possible ways that IT can support those projects. So last year we worked with the Program and Improvement Team over in Instructional Services, and what we talked through with them, we have coaches from ISTE who support us. We talked about the Global Classroom Project. As you can see, there's so many awesome components to this program that sometimes it's hard to pinpoint, like, where is the impact here? Where are all these student voices coming in to kind of signify the impact of this incredible project? So we talked through innovation cycles and went back and forth, but we kind of landed on the Global Classroom, and we were searching for tools and maybe how AI could enhance the focus on impact of the Global Classroom Project. So that's how we got connected. And as we talked through ideas and everything, we recently landed on the idea that a Gemini Gem, which is a custom chatbot available through Google, might be a great way to start reflecting on program impact for the Global Classroom Project. So what is a Gemini Gem? As I mentioned, it is you're essentially creating a Gemini chat that is loaded with a really well-developed prompt. So think of a very, 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 very long custom prompt. And it also allows you to attach knowledge, and there's a whole life cycle with the gem so that you can continue to prompt it and refine it as your project focuses or whatever the purpose of that gem changes. So in this case, we focused on how it can impact, how we could set up this gem and how it could support the Global Classroom and its impact on, or I'm sorry, its reflection on impact, where they are making impact, how the teams can measure impact. And then also, I think what we've noticed when you create the gem and start interacting with it is that there's a lot of potential to enhance collaboration with partner schools. So sort of identifying opportunities for each partner school to collect data and collect student reflections, artifacts that can then serve to further emphasize the program's impact. So what we're going to do, this kind of gives you a little bit of a preview of what a gem looks like. I'm not going to move away from the slideshow yet until we start interacting with it, but think of this as your browser. For those of you who have used AI chatbots, it's going to look pretty similar. What you do is you are going to create this gem. We're going to show you how to do it. And then you're going to engage in a chat that is a custom chat. And again, in this context, help you identify areas where these school teams can reflect on their impact. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to my incredible colleague, Mel, who talks through this so well. When we work with schools and teams and talk about AI, this is a graphic that we'll use when we're talking about Gemini Gems. And so I'll try to keep along with you, Mel. Just tell me to move me along when I get there. But she's going to go ahead and we like to use this acronym as we talk about gems. So I'll turn it over to you, Mel.
You're doing great. So recently, Pam and I had the pleasure to be guests on a podcast episode for our professional learning office. And they were really interested in how administrators could use Gemini Gems to make the walkthrough process a little bit easier for administrators. You go into a classroom, you observe the educator, you write your feedback, you run it through the standard protocol, you examine them on a rubric, you develop reflection questions, you bring it back with the teacher. It's a whole thing. So we worked with our principals to develop this gem. And so we've been thinking about how you can use gems in other contexts. And we boiled down the process into these 4 steps. And that's create, capture, prompt, and polish. So those 4 steps look a little like this. Step 1 is just creating the gem. And if you've ever written an email, you can make a gem. It's just the same. You basically have fields that you need to enter your information in. It's basically just like you're filling out a form. So the way you get started is you go to gemini.google.com. Explore Gems is on that left-hand sidebar, and all you do is you click New Gem. So I'm sure these slides will be shared out afterwards, and this graphic organizer is public on the web. It's a Canva graphic organizer, so you'll have access to that. All right, so once you get into that gem builder, here's what it looks like. Very similar to writing an email, like I said. There's actually only 3 boxes here that you need to fill out. The first one is just the topic of the gem, and that's that green box, the description. So the description for this gem that we've built for you today, or that helps with this project, is called the Global Classroom Project Impact Reflection Gem. So that kind of gives you a clue as to what the purpose of this gem is, but that's the second box, the purple one, and that's instructions. So this is where you give this custom chatbot a persona, a personality, a task, a specific behavior that you want it to do. And so for this gem, what we did was we asked it to really look at the project plans that were being uploaded and reflect them against other criteria. It could be the POG criteria, it could be global classroom initiatives, it could be even our Fairfax learning model. Basically, any documents or any supporting resources that you need to have this gem understand its context. Okay, so this gem is a closed source. It references the knowledge that you just give to it specifically. I'll go over what knowledge this has in a minute. And then that blue side on the right-hand side is just to test it out. Okay, so really just those 3 boxes you're filling out: your description, instructions, and then the knowledge. All right, next slide. When you are writing the instructions, remember I said you want to give it a persona, a task, context. When Pam was talking earlier, she mentioned this too. It's like a really, really long prompt. But the good thing about Google Gemini AI is that it actually helps you write this prompt if you just click a simple button. But here are some tips. You want to make sure that gem has a persona, and in this case, we want it to be reflective. We want it to take on a tone of voice that's perhaps a little bit more coaching, that guides us through questioning. It's not going to give us the answers right away, and it's not directive. So that's what we mean by persona. Okay, and the task is to help give it some of those brainstorming questions to help you think. All right. On the next slide, you see where that button is that I was referring to earlier that helps you write those instructions. So you can really brain dump into your instruction box with a general idea like, hey, I'd love if a chatbot helped me organize my schedule every week if I gave it a list of my appointments. Okay, whatever your prompt is, just brain dump all of your thinking and then press that crayon icon to really get it to revise. That'll optimize it for the AI. It'll make sure its persona is really clear, that its workflow is really clear. Yes, and it's great for repetitive tasks. All right. Next, the really great thing about Gemini Gems and why it is a closed source again is that it is referring to the documents that you upload. So you can see on the screen, you see little icons of the knowledge that I uploaded to this gem, but they were the SDG Goals Report document for 2025. Okay, so that's where all of my goals are. It had the template project outline attached to it. So if I were to upload a project template, it would be able to compare it with that original outline. Okay, so any core documents that you use, any templates might be your knowledge. It could also be your reference material or sources from your district, grounding documents. So like for us, I said, we uploaded our Portrait of a Graduate learning resources and our learning model to it as well. Okay, so you're really building out its brain at this point, and you're giving it all the knowledge it needs to successfully coach you in that conversation. Okay. All right, and then step 2 is go ahead and just capture. So if this GCP gem is built to help you reflect, what might you need to capture and upload to this gem as evidence of your work? Okay, where do you want it to look at to see, are you reflecting? So for this example, you might capture some of that raw data or notes, any materials that you might want to ask this gem for feedback around. Go ahead and capture those somewhere else, and then you can upload them directly to the gem. You can upload files from your desktop or from your drive as long as you have access to it. So like we said, it could be student artifacts or shared project plans, whatever you have. Okay, next. Step 3 is just a prompt. So once your gem is built, you've captured what you want to get feedback around, you can prompt this gem. So opening it up is as simple as opening the last link of that gem that you used, and then you could say, hi, what do you do? For this one, we said, hey, our attached project plan is here. Could you write out a detailed data analysis report of this and help us generate some ideas for how we could enact this plan a little bit further? And on the screen, you see it says your current plan already incorporates excellent data analysis, but here's something that you could do for e-waste and plastic pollution. So it's giving us very specific feedback and ideas because the information that we gave it, all those knowledge documents, were also very specific. Okay, and you can see on the screen the example of the prompt that we typed was right there. Use this plan in order to help me develop ideas. Okay. Step number 4 is just to polish. So we are human-centered designers at our core here in our Department of Information Technology. We believe that AI is only as good as the user who is using it, and this is where your thought comes in at the end, is to get your feedback, to re-engage your brain with whatever that AI is giving you. So this AI is going to give you lots of ideas for ways that you can enhance that project or reach out to some different audiences perhaps, but you're going to want to double check those responses, and you can do so within Canvas, which is in Google Gemini. So on the next screen, we show you what Canvas kind of looks like as you go. So Pam, you can show that side-by-side analysis. So once Gemini gets going, it's going to want to generate you a Google Doc. Okay, some of you might be thinking, hey, these are great ideas that we'll get in the chat, but where can I put those? How can I hold on to some of those ideas that Gemini is giving me? And by using Canvas, not Canva, but Canvas, which is built into Gemini, you can craft that doc side by side. And you can actually revise that doc with AI as you go. So that's a very iterative process of using AI to help really be your thought partner, to help you break down whatever that prompt is that you gave it, whether you were asking for reflection or for feedback, it's going to give that to you as well. Okay. So I know I just talked a lot, and that is a huge overview. So we would love to show you now, what does this actually look like when you use it? How can you build a gem or use a gem through Gemini to be a thought partner for you, to be your guide on the side? And Pam has, she's got her chat going here, and she's going to show us how this works. So notice that she started off by going to gemini.google.com, and gems are located within Gemini. Pam, I'll let you talk now.
Okay, so yeah, well, what we're going to do now is just sort of shift over into, like, this is sort of a demo mode of where you can watch as this gem, as we're interacting with the gem we set up for the Global Classroom project reflection. So as you can see over here, the gems are available in the side panel. And when you click on Explore Gems, it will take you up into this view where you will see some pre-made gems by Google, and then also ones that you have created or pinned. Recently, I'd say within the past couple of weeks, gems have now the ability to be shared, and that's been a real game changer. Up to this point, we've supported folks using gems, throughout the end of last year into this year, and this has just been a great update to this platform. So I'm going to go to our Global Classroom project gem, and then before I do that, I just really want to quickly show you the back end of the gem. I know there's some screenshots. You'll have the slides so you can see the screenshots. But these are all the fields that Mel was sharing, the name, description, and instructions. And let's just to give you a little skim here, I mentioned that it's like a prompt, a very big prompt. So again, all of these, we've provided them for you in the presentation. But again, over here, this little pen here, this little button, Gemini will help you write a gem. So you could just, if you were creating one for your own purpose, you could then, just brain dump some ideas and it would help you write the gem. But as you can see, I've added knowledge. So I know Mel covered some of this, but what I did too while we were meeting just now, I just added a Google Doc that incorporated some of the key components of this presentation. You could upload the presentation itself, anything that's related to the topic that you are working on. And then you can prompt it over here just to see if it's working before you save it. But that's just the back side of it to show you with that. But I know we were meeting and discussing what would be a great demo for this group. So we were talking about one of I think it was the Hughes example. And that's the 8th grade team. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to capture, go back to our acronym there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I started so I could find it quickly. But this is the 8th grade pre-algebra team, Global Classroom team. So as you can see, I've added the knowledge there. And this gem is set up to help school teams identify areas where they can measure their impact, and also potentially provide collaborative opportunities for like collective input to be gathered to measure impact. So I'm probably going to do a little back and forth with Joanne or Andrea as we go through this. But I think as a starting point, I had a prompt pre-written here. Let me go ahead and just
And while Pam is
Again,
grabbing that,
yeah,
I'll just remind you that this Hughes Middle School, this was a pre-algebra class with students who are English language learners, and they were partnering with the school in France looking at sustainability and environmentalism, and they were cleaning up a lake that was not far from their school. And so we're looking at where do we have gaps in the project plan in terms of data collection, and how can Gemini help us? How can this gem help us with that? So just a quick overview of the actual project plan.
Okay, and I think I grabbed the wrong order in the questions. I'm sorry, real quick. Here we go. So this is probably a bigger prompt than you'd need to start out with, but it's just trying to get to some of the good stuff quickly with our limited amount of time. I know we need to wrap up here in about 5 minutes, but so this is just going, it's asking the GEM to identify, like, in cross-community data sets, statistically significant difference in 2 categories, formulate a hypothesis that explains the difference, what elements of the most effective solution could be adapted. And let's see, this one might be a little bit broad to start out with, but as you can see, the GEM introduces itself, and it immediately starts, it's identified the goal here, the Sustainable Development Goal, and it's providing some ideas for that cross-community data analysis. And it's gone in here, and I love that so this is what we set the GEM up to do. We set it up to actually, identify different columns, and so, like, create that collective environment so that schools can put both of their, can separately contribute to that common theme. And so you can see it's pulled together some of that data to start out with, and then to that second point of the prompt, it started to form a hypothesis. So how these 2 schools could continue their work together, and it's pulling on the data that they've already collected. So moving into sort of like a second phase. Again, that first prompt was pretty loaded, so it's giving us a lot of information. But now it's even gone in here to further, opportunities for data collection. So I think what might be neat here is to show you all how it could, we uploaded some of that recent report from the UN Sustainability Goals. So what we could do here is we could say, create a brief activity that these 2 partner schools can use with their students, sorry, to collect and reflect further. Oh, it's always fun typing in front of groups of people. But what we're going to do is, I know Mel showed you that Canvas feature. I've selected Canvas because what it does is this is when you can really get that human in the loop. So I'm going to have it come up with this activity to collectively reflect on the data, and it never goes right into this Canva feature for me. Create a document. Canvas. It might be trying to create the document, and I'm just getting impatient. Document for us to plan further. And let me go create Canvas. Let me see if this will do it here. Gotta love these live demos here. All right, stop this response. Let's see. Because I want to show you, this is a great way to, hopefully if this opens correctly, how you can put that human back in the loop, because we know that's important to do. So hopefully this will work. So when you're talking about opportunities for collaboration and reflecting on impact, you can see that this GEM is pulling some data. It's identifying opportunities for both schools to collectively put their data together, and then plan activities around that data. Let's see.
And Pam, I'll just
While we're
I'll
waiting
just
for this to pop up, I just wanted to share that one of the things that we're interested in using a GEM for, or using an AI tool for, is to really evaluate what is the impact of the school project plans. Remember, step 4 of the framework is the collective action. What is the impact of that, and how might we not only collect that data, but then evaluate it to see how this is working toward making inroads into solving some of these very pressing challenges that we're facing. We have anecdotal data, we have qualitative data from our students, elementary and secondary, that we collected this year, and then we're looking again for more detailed data, maybe quantitative. Joanne?
I think you took the words right out of my mouth. I think
Okay, so
oh, go ahead, Pam.
no, it's fine. It did
No, we
finally
won't.
open up, and I appreciate you putting your voice out there, Andrea, because you helped me focus in my instructions for it. But what I did was I did finally get it to open up that Canva feature. So as you can see, it did pull up an activity that, a starting point for an activity that each partner school could do that would help collect that data to measure impact. So as you can see, it's given the idea of it's given an overview of an activity, and then what the activity is. And what I did is I actually prompted it so that it made the activity a little bit less time consuming for each class. So again, I'm going to wrap up because I want to make sure that I know Joanne wanted to close with a few topics for you all, but hopefully you did just get a quick overview. Again, going back to that cycle of a gem, prompting and polishing, what we would do is we'd go back to the gem instructions. If it's not producing what you necessarily needed to produce, you'd go back, you'd add more knowledge, or you just adjust those, you adjust the instructions to meet the needs. So hopefully you got, it's not always that, sometimes it doesn't always pull up the best in a demo here, but hopefully that gave you a little bit of a picture of how we can start using that this year, and also polishing it and making it customized and sharing it. Just to quickly show you all, there's that chart for you again, or that infographic for you again, but there is a slide for sharing gems. So if you ever did want to try those, please feel free to look at that slide because you can share them now. So ideally, those partner schools could share the gem with each other using the Global Classroom domain. And I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to make sure you have enough time to close out, Joanne.
Thanks, Pam. And, in addition to measuring the impact that our students are making, both in our local community and in our global community, we're also looking at this gem to really determine which targets of the SDGs our students are able to hit. Because when we think about something like responsible consumption and production or quality education, those are very broad topics that have targets aligned with them. So we're really looking to drill down a little further and see what exactly our students are able to make an impact on. So with that, there are some websites to learn more about the Global Classroom Project. Jared has a PDF that I think he'll be sending out, and these links are in that PDF as well, so you can directly click on that. If you happen to know any international partners that are interested in participating, so our international educators, we do have a GCP teacher sign-up form that we ask everybody to fill out. It would be most appreciated if you share that with colleagues internationally. And as far as collaboration opportunities, so we are very open to potential collaborations on the Global Classroom Project and using AI. Pam, if you could just move to the next slide. So research obviously is something that is very important. The AI integration for our Global Classroom Project participants. I did see a comment about, do students have this? The answer is not yet. We are hoping that that is coming down the pike. We're open to pursuing grant funding, professional development, facilitation of global partnerships. We're definitely happy to discuss ongoing things. So we did leave a time for questions and answers. It's 2 p.m. So I know that we're out of time. We're happy to, I don't know, Jared, do we have a few extra minutes for wiggle room or no?
That was amazing. Oftentimes you see technology being used to kind of isolate or narrow users' views about things with like filters and all those things. But this is such a great example of how technology can connect, allow students to communicate and collaborate at a global level. And how AI can support that. So I'll say that we will officially, no one has to feel guilty at all for leaving right now. But if we want to hang on, those of you that have 5 minutes that might have questions, feel free to stick around, but this is the official end. But if anyone wants to hang on for 5 minutes, I think that's is that okay, John?
Did you say Joan or Joanne?
Joanne.
Oh, yes, that's fine.
Okay, great. So does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask? I have one if no one else does, but
Go for it.
so to find the classrooms, you're just using your personal networks
Yes.
to connect?
Yes, personal networks. We do have a partnerships coordinator, and there are some organizations that we work with, but it's mostly an outreach effort and campaign. And we're starting to find, in year 9, that this is really becoming recognized in countries. Once we sort of have an inroad with a few partners, in a particular location, we see like growth in that region. We've also had partners. It's also nice to have partners that sustain year to year. So that certainly is a big goal. It doesn't always work because people are moving in different places. But yes, this is an outreach effort.
Okay. Hi, Tracy. Glad you can make it. Yeah.
So this year, Jared, will have approximately 150 participants, teacher participants
Wow.
from FCPS, and then their partners.
I haven't seen anything at this scale for a school division. Like this is, I mean, FCPS does things at scale, right? But this is really awesome to see.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. It just seems like this program has expanded so much since the last time we had a collaboration with you. So kudos for all of the success. It's really
Thank you.
impressive. Yeah.
It does
And
take a village.
yes. I was thinking about potential schools, as especially ones that might have a goal to try to improve students' English language. And so I'm still thinking, of different ways to connect with some of the schools where we have teachers that we're working with. So we'll be in touch, and if there's any way we can support some of that outreach, that would be amazing.
That'd be
I
great.
am
Thank
going to
you.
the in-person event, so I
Mhm.
got it
I
on
will
my
be sure
calendar.
to send the
Yeah.
invitation.
That'll look cool.
Yeah.
I wish
Right,
we lived closer so we could come too.
Yeah. Tracy's in a university in Idaho, so
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Tracy.
Thank you for sharing this. I actually had a couple of students who took the opportunity and joined as well. And so because I try and encourage them so much to use technology to expand their classroom. And so I'm glad that they were here and able to listen as well. So
Great.
okay, I'm going to stop the recording.